Hi, everybody. Welcome to Production Notes. My name is Tom Alexander, and of course, I am joined by the other half of this duo, the man behind the scenes, the Wizard of Odds. Who knows what's going on back there behind the curtain? It is Charles Epstein. Hey, Charles, how are
The
you?
Wizard of Oz, as in odds and ends.
Odds and ends. The Wizard
I
of
like
Odds
that.
and
I've
ends.
never been
Not
called
betting
that.
odds.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Sort of like a utility infielder on steroids. That's the way I'm going to look at it. Somebody actually told me that
Yeah. Yeah, that's
fairly
good.
recently, the NBA reserved and all. Was it the NBA? No. I think it was actually Major League Baseball who reserved a an all-star spot for an all-star utility player. Is that the case? Somebody mentioned
I
that to
that
me
sounds
just the other
I
day.
that sounds yeah, you're hitting a note there somewhere because I seem to recall that. And we've seen many of those guys in baseball for years. You and I grew up at the same time watching baseball in the 70s, and guys like Manny Mota, right? Professional hitter, always seemed to
Yeah,
get the hit in Minnie Minoso, those kinds of guys.
yeah.
So
Rusty Staub became a utility guy,
he
although early in
did.
his career he was a really good outfielder, great
Yeah.
arm. Legrand Orange. Yeah, it's really kind of cool that they're recognizing because in the NBA you have six men, and they get a lot of love, they get a lot of attention. I don't know if they necessarily get an all-star berth. Sometimes they do,
Hmm.
but it really is kind of cool. And I didn't know this, and again, I wasn't sure. A friend of mine mentioned this to me, but you are the baseball guy, so I figured it was a good opportunity to bring that up and ask you about that. But yeah, the
Well,
Wizard of Odds and Ends.
Wizard
I
of Odds
kind of
and
like
Ends.
that. I kind of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
There you go. The Wizard of Odds and Ends. We just coined a phrase here, a moniker for you. Last thought before we move on to the show itself. But I want to the talent show. But I want to mention there is one of the great sixth men. I'll get that out in NBA history is in the Hall of Fame. Gentleman by the name of Bobby Jones.
Bobby Jones and Havlicek. He was kind of a
And
six man,
he was kind of a sixth man. Yeah, yeah.
but we digress as we typically do.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
That's what
One of
we
the things
do.
we do.
Yes.
When you're the
Instead
Wizard
of
of
instead
Odds
of
and Ends,
production
that's what
notes,
we
we
do.
should just call it digressing. I think it
You know
probably.
what? I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Or just
Yeah.
Michigas. Call it Michigas. I
It is
mean,
a lot of Michigas. They
may
play Ohio State, don't they?
yeah, may make us a little too niche.
Yeah.
But there you go. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, this is our second production notes, and just people coming to this first time. Just give you some background, some sneak preview of who we're going to have on, some
Yeah.
conversation about some things that are maybe top of mind in the news. But in any case, we've had a number of really, really terrific guests on recently. And as our goal at the outset was not to just have HR people or business people. We wanted to have people from all walks of life. And I think we've really gotten off on a good foot with that. Randy Bernson, the fusion composer, jazz composer, and guitarist and pilot, the comedian, hypnotist, Boris Cherniak, and we're going to be having other really, really interesting people on. We're going to be having Matt Burns, CEO and co-founder of Atlas Copilot, to talk about his long obsession with airplanes. Jeffrey Klein, founder, president, and CEO of Nine Dots, and a self-proclaimed game master. Apparently, he has a talent for creating and getting people to participate in games.
Wow.
I've known people like that. I'm sure you have too.
I have. Yeah. Yeah. I had a friend of mine. He used to refer to himself as the game maker.
Ah,
And he would invent little games and everything. And yeah, yeah, very, very cool.
by the way, I am going to be making history here with,
Mhm.
we've done quite a few podcasts and radio stuff and just a whole lot of work together over the years. This is the first thing that we've ever done where I am going to be using not one, but two Yiddish words on the same episode.
Wow.
We talk about game master. There was a term my mom used to always use, a cook level, somebody who stirs the pot.
Ah.
Somebody who stirs the pot is usually somebody who's instigating.
Now let me try saying that. Say it one more time.
Cook level. Cook
Cook level.
level.
Cook level. Okay.
Somebody who stirs the pot.
Somebody who stirs the pot.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, cook
you
level.
know, yeah. So I'm going to run that by Jeffrey Klein, see how he likes that.
Okay.
We're going to be having Elena Moscow, CEO and founder of Globiana, a global mobility company, to talk about her passion for painting. I know you're working on some really interesting people
Yep.
in the fields of entertainment and all that. And I'm working on some people. So yeah, this is going to be really, really good, Tom. So looking
Yeah,
forward to keeping this going.
yeah, definitely. We love talking, a little bit taking the audience a little bit behind the scenes here and how the talent show works. All the gear works and everything that
Right.
that take place. It is fun too, Charles, to do this show, to do the talent show with these folks because in many ways you learn things you didn't know most of the time, revelations, and it's really really cool. We had two guys on that, when you mentioned Burnson and Burns, which sounds like a comedy duo, but it's not. Randy Burnson and Matt Burns, both, one is a pilot and one wants to be a pilot. His passion is
Right.
is everything flight. But when somebody has that
And
level,
by the way, and you and I, of course, simply have 2 feet planted in midair. So to some extent, we're
that's
kindred
true.
spirits.
That's an excellent point.
Yes.
But when someone has that level of passion, it's impossible to not have a great deal of knowledge that goes right with it, hand in glove, right? It's just so you learn things about uh, flying and airlines and the business of flying and the coordination of scheduling and all that stuff that you didn't know. And
Yeah.
these are the kinds of things that I love about doing the talent show with folks because everybody that has that second thing, whatever that talent is or passion is, they're all in. They're all in. They're 100%. And so, how can it not be exciting?
Yeah. There's that old line where everybody has one book.
Yeah,
And Christopher Hitchens once said that, yeah, and that's where, in most cases, it should remain um, in you.
yeah,
But what is interesting is that, if you prod enough, everybody's got an interesting story. Even people you don't think have a lot going on, they have an interesting story.
yeah.
It's sometimes engaging, showing interest, probing. Obviously, the people we're talking to are more than happy to be forthcoming. This is something they cultivate. Although generally speaking, it's something that most of their colleagues, their coworkers, their cohort knows nothing about. So it's been really great to give those people a platform and give them an opportunity to show other sides of themselves. But we also, I think, because we're still early into this, we talk about talent. It's important that we emphasize that we're not talking about necessarily the standard performative, excuse me, talents, playing an instrument, painting, juggling, all this kind of stuff. It could be a hobby. It could be an off-road interest, a side hustle. Even we're going to be talking a little bit down the road with somebody who is an executive with a very well-known staffing company who has a side hustle, baking cupcakes, et cetera. So, it could be a range of things. It could be something completely goofy, but if it's something you're passionate about, it's something you do. We want to talk to you about it. And it sort of occurs to me, you and I were talking about a mutual colleague of ours. We always marveled at this guy for having a talent, but what I would call a talent for achieving sort of a Zen-like state as an employee, of
Yeah.
being there and not being there, of seeming to be ubiquitous but kind of indistinct. Somebody who seems important, a stalwart of the company, but has no defined skill set. This person survives wave after wave of layoffs unscathed, and you're always left to wonder why. And I'm sure if you broke it down, because you and I have that one person in common, you and I have spoken about that person and other people who share those characteristics. And I think it does, at a certain level, it is a talent. I don't know. I don't know how to break it down exactly, but you
Yeah,
got to admire somebody who is able to stay sort of like, going back to some of the sports talk we were talking about,
yeah,
somebody who's a journeyman, but gee, he's been in the league for 15 years.
yeah. No, exactly. And by the way, the person that this person we mutually, we know who this person is. This person, I can say he is. He says, hey, he acknowledges that this is something that he has managed that has even surprised him. Let's put it that way. Which is just confirmation.
So what does he
That's
chalk
all
it
you
up
need.
to? Have you ever had a conversation where you said, Bill, Bill, why do you think this is? Why do you think you've managed to remain here and actually thrive
Mhm.
for all these many years when, I don't know how you can actually say it to him, but, the guy clearly has no discernible talent. I mean, he's affable. He shows up for all the company picnics and all the company events.
He even brings potato
He laughs
salad.
at he laughs at your jokes.
Uh-huh. I don't know either. I don't know either, but that's something to maybe focus on more deeply in a future show. Um, you're listening to Production Notes. I'm here with, of course, with Charles Epstein, the producer of the Talent Show, and we're gonna just come back with some last thoughts in just a moment. We'll take this quick break. This is the Work Defined Podcast Network. Back in just a moment. We're wrapping things up here on Production Notes along with Charles Epstein. I'm Tom Alexander. Charles, lots coming up on the talent show here in the next couple of weeks, no?
Yes, and by the way, talking about our colleague and buddy Bill,
Hmm.
our former colleague, and I think you still maintain contact with him. Yes,
On occasion. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, if this were a visual coming back from the break, I'd probably be in a lotus position, chanting or breathing or showing you that I too can achieve a Zen state.
Yes.
Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, very admirable, very admirable. Good work if you can get it. Anyway, yeah, a lot going on, a lot coming up, a lot of great people coming on. And by the way, you're listening to this, you got something you want to talk about, a talent, an interest, a hobby, show us what you got, send us an email, and happy to have you on.
Well, yeah. What is that email, Charles?
A talent show at backboneinc.com. Email us describing what it is you want to talk about. If you have any footage, any documentation to support this talent, this quirk, this off road interest, by all means. And look forward to checking it out and have you on.
Talent show at Backbone Inc. That's where you send your email to us, and we're going to be there to check it out and hopefully get you on the show. This is Production Notes. He's Charles Epstein. I'm Tom Alexander, and we'll see you again next time. So long, everybody.